try to wait. Is there anybody online? Okay. All right. Guess we should do the call to order first, right?
Roll call.
Roll call.
Tony Perry here.
Elborn here.
Jerry Good here. Eric Cabrera here.
John Gamelke here,
David Miharis here.
and not here so far, George Jones and Arden Weatherford. You lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Sure.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Any additions, deletions, or corrections to the agenda? No. Did everybody look over the minutes from last time? Are there any changes? Anybody have anything?
Bourne moves to approve the minutes of August 6th as presented.
Perry will second.
Take a vote. We approve?
Okay. Perry, yes.
Bourne, yes.
Good, yes. Cabrera, yes.
Gamelke, yes.
Miharis, yes.
Weatherford, yes. Arden is here. Any unfinished business, public comment? Anybody? I don't see anybody today. Anybody got it? This is gonna be a really short meeting. I'm so glad. Nobody? Does anybody have any unfinished business?
Well, stop trying to make it longer. Just go.
All right. Any new business? I'd like to see some new business. I'd like to feel useful up here. Mark? Kava update, please.
Morning, everybody. So there are a lot of things still in motion with our project. Everybody sees what's going on out at the site. I would assume that's the overlap grading that's going on. It's beginning to take shape. There are a few items left that we have to do with the subdivision development agreement, the SDA. There's a few items that we have to wrap up and we'll probably get those done this week. So we're working on that. And then at the same time, our architect and GC are working with Pikes Peak Regional Building to get all the items that Regional Building wants. So those are in motion and that's all great. Nothing unexpected. We press on, we move forward. We do have, I guess everybody's seen this, the groundbreaking ceremony next, not this Thursday, next Thursday, 10 o'clock at the site. Please be there. It's been a long time coming.
Yeah.
So if you could be there for that, we would love to have you as our guest. So that's what I got this morning. Any questions?
Foundation, I already asked, but I want to hear the public to hear. When do you expect to start on the foundation? Like digging and pouring?
Yeah, that's great, because we got to get it done for the winter hits, right? So that's in process. We're going to start in the next few weeks on that. We just had this conversation yesterday with our GC to get it all done, just the foundation and the slab before January 1st. That's what we're aiming for.
And so you're far enough along with the city on the planning that you have approval to construction approved to move along that way?
Not yet, not exactly, not yet. We have that still in front of us. But just getting the letter this morning that we got from the city about required items related to the SDA, that's what we're waiting on. And those will be wrapped up this week, next week, probably.
You seem pretty confident it's moving forward the way that you would like.
Yes,
Great,
it is.
great.
We're gonna be right down to the wire about that weather.
Yes,
That's gonna be close.
be close, but yeah, you'll
Your
still be,
GC, you know what.
you'll
we're up
still beat the
against.
cold weather, I think, if you're done by January.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that, yes, sir, that's a real-time update from
Great.
just talking to Ray Thomas yesterday that he's in motion. He's got things moving so that foundation and slabs in by January 1st.
All right. Thank you.
You bet.
Anybody have any questions for Mark?
Just clarification for the groundbreaking. He's invited all the DDA members.
Yes, I was gonna do that, but, so I did check with Marcus McCaskin to see if we could go. I didn't want any conflict of interest, and he said, absolutely, we can go. So it's not a board meeting or anything like that. He said, yes, you can go. So
We just have to not talk DDA business while we're hanging out.
that's anywhere we go, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, well, just a reminder.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Hope to see everybody there.
Yeah. We were trying to get together, Aaron and I, we've both been very busy, so we haven't gotten together about the micro grants, but we also have not heard any ideas from anybody. So we would like anybody that does have some ideas. I did get one person that approached me and she mentioned the possibility of instead of micro grants, maybe small loans. And that way the person that is getting the loan has more investment in it. I mean, it's an interesting idea. I don't know that we're just playing with ideas, and I still would like to get, hopefully this month we can get together and we'll have something by next month to present to people. Is that fair? Yeah. So does anybody have anything on that? I don't have anything else on that. It is something I'd like to see happen though. But get there.
I think from the city's perspective, we can, of course, help with the language and the way that it's written. But I think from the DDA's perspective, it's giving direction as to what you'd like to see the grants used for. Is it exterior? Is it, because we want to give them specific requirements as to what we're asking them to use the grant for. Regardless of whether it's a loan or a grant. So
Correct.
if we could get that direction, that would help with the language.
My idea is exteriors unless anybody else has another idea.
Yeah, one of the charters of the DDA is to do beautification projects within the boundaries. So I think exterior would make sense.
And then do we need to have a price point too, or do we need to come up with something like that in our?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Does anybody have any ideas on that? Nobody said anything to me at all.
Well, I guess in as the treasurer role, as I'm digging into countdown to 2032 to paying off our debt, meeting our TIF obligations, looking at our current reserves and kind of projected reserves, doing a mini pro forma. I would like to work backwards. I would like to figure out what we need to get to 2032 with our debt paid off and see what is left over from there theoretically or as close as possible. And then we'll know what monies we have for grants for the micro grant project, or if we want to give a grant to the city for Bergstrom Park or something like that. So I would prefer to know where we stand, then we can make a better informed decision on what that number might look like.
Sure.
And we do, another consideration is they did just pass House Bill 1001. And that does reduce the commercial tax rate. So we will see a little bit of a reduction in the revenue this year. We had a huge increase last year. We're going to see it come down this year, certainly. The commercial tax rate's going from 29% this year. It's going to go to 25% effective January. So that's, yeah.
Not sure how 4% really helps me much, but
It'll probably be, I don't have an exact estimate at this time, but it will definitely reduce the revenue that's coming into the DDA.
sure.
Yeah. So Tony and I will talk about that.
Yeah, but it'll also reduce the TIF reimbursement payments.
That's
as well.
true. Yes.
So correspondingly,
It will, yeah.
Yeah. so.
Do you have any, I know you've been super busy and as always, do you have any idea when we might have those numbers so we could, no pressure, I'm just wondering, we could take.
Yeah, so I'm still kind of in data gathering mode, so I have been extremely busy, but I also know the city's been extremely busy, so I think we just need to connect, get the data confirmed, and then it'll be in fairly short order. It's not that difficult,
Okay.
but we just need the data.
And we're working on budget right now, so usually by the end of September, we have most of our projections done. So for the next meeting, we should be able to have something.
Yeah, I think that was mentioned last meeting when I was looking at my other notes, if that would be the case.
So, yeah, if we have data, once the city budget is done, then the work we do can be done pretty expeditiously. So I would say I don't know if that first meeting in October, but definitely the meeting in November, we'd probably have enough information
Okay.
to make good decisions.
Is there any public comment regarding new business? No? Tony or board chair report, that would be me. I don't really have anything. Microgrants is one of the things that's, I guess we did hear from, and I don't know that it's worth, I guess it's worth mentioning. The city park sent out a letter saying they were going to, they wanted to hire a consultant to, about Bergstrom Park. And I guess I don't have anything to say about that. We'll just see where that goes. I think there's some other ideas being thrown out there, so we'll see what happens with that. Other than that, Arden, do you have anything you'd like to bring up?
I was gonna make the same comment. I saw that letter in the packet. I'm not sure we need a consultant to tell us what we want over there. I mean, just the kind of meeting we had last month was very helpful. We could get there. So I'm not exactly sure how we should approach going forward on that.
I just see a consultant adding 6 months to a year of time and money, and I don't know who would pay for it. It's new to me, so I don't know. I
Our
don't have anything
experience,
positive to say about it, so I'm just gonna be quiet.
our experience with the master plans, using a consultant to help with the public engagement, to make sure that we do capture the community engagement there, that's been very beneficial on all of our other master study plans. So that's why we're thinking that it would be helpful.
Okay, yeah. So it could be that Tava is up and running before we do anything with Bergstrom Park.
I don't have an answer to that at this. Yeah,
All right,
they did do the Meadowood master plan pretty quickly. We were very impressed with what they put together for us there. So timelines are always going to be dependent on what we agree to with whatever consultant that we pick.
so just so I know, who pays for that, the consultant?
We would have to discuss that if the DDA wants to split it with the city, or how we want to work that out. We'd have to go for bids, see what the quotes come back with, and then we could make a decision at that point.
So it is something the city's considering doing.
Absolutely, because I mean, it's right in the middle of the downtown corridor. It makes sense that the city would have an investment in that.
Hey, John,
Yes.
not a comment about that.
Yeah.
When I read that letter, I was kind of concerned about it because they were gonna keep the DDA and the Tava House up to date and involved. I'm curious as to why the Tava House has a say more so than any other public citizen would have.
I didn't get that from that.
I didn't get that from that, and Tava does not have a say. It's the city, period.
Okay,
I think the
well,
letter, if I
and
could, I think the letter said that HPC and the DDA would be key stakeholders in the engagement process and all the decision making. But Prab would lead it simply because it's a park within the city.
And the surrounding businesses that are impacted, not just Tava. So I would get off that little mantra. It's more than time for us to move on.
I think that the public's interests need to be considered.
That's exactly what we're talking about here. It's completely the public interest. So. Okay.
Board chair report.
Treasurer's
Treasurer
report.
report, please.
Okay, so on page 14, you'll see a TIF reimbursement request for $23,094.64. So, as you recall, a couple of months ago, we did a 50% reimbursement to Purple Mountain Hospitality 2, which is the microtel. Mr. Rabo said, I think it's supposed to be 75%. And so, Mr. Vasilati and I reviewed it, but we also had the attorney review it because this DDA board inherited a previous spreadsheet set up by the previous DDA board, and we were going by that schedule, if you will. And so what Mr. McCaskill did as the attorney was actually poured through the actual contract and ferreted out that, yes, indeed, we actually owed Mr. Rabo 75% this year reimbursement, not 50. So this is the additional 25%. And of course, that means we need to do the same process and verify the spreadsheet for the other active TIF agreements to make sure they're set up correct, because that's going to obviously inform us what we need to finish paying off the TIF reimbursements before the DDA is shut down. So that's what that is. So that should be processed by the city this week. You'll see the actual spreadsheet there, and what I chose to do was add another line for 2024 that shows the 25% additional to actually capture and reflect what actually happened from an audit perspective to make it clear. And then also I included the email thread from the attorney explaining how he came to the conclusion that Mr. Vasilati and I agreed with. We also had, skip past it on page 12. We have our July attorney expense for $270, and that's being processed this week as well. And then we should be current after this week on all of our bills and TIF payments. One TIF payment that I'm aware of that we always struggle with every year is for the apartments, the Trail Ridge Apartments, because their corporate entity seems to move their offices around and moves the asset under different entities. So we'll have to we haven't gotten contact with them. Usually they finally remember and then they reach out to us and it's a different entity and we have to do some things. We're going to try to be more proactive and reach out to them and say, hey, is it the same party that that has this current contract? And so we'll try to get in front of that, but I think that's the only TIF reimbursement left till the end of the year. So.
Thank you, Tony. Board member reports. Anybody have anything?
I guess I'll start on this end. I just want to remind everyone that tomorrow is the 9/11 ceremony at Lions Park. It's always done extremely well. Typically, the VFW does all the work, gets it set up, and there's a nice program. Usually one of the school choirs participate. They talk about the story and some local people, veterans, share some personal stories related to 9/11. And, I think, we're 23 years on, but as Dan Williams says, we can't forget. We need to always remember what that was. So anyway, I'd encourage DDA members or the public to attend if you have the time.
You know what time that's at?
I believe I know I'm there at 7 setting up speakers, but I think it's at 9, the actual program.
I think the flags are raised at 7:30 and the
Yep.
program starts at 9.
Yeah.
Bourne has nothing additional.
Cabrera has nothing.
Yeah, this has nothing.
Yeah, I was gonna suggest that we put this Bergson Park thing on the agenda for next month. And maybe expand our thinking a little bit. There's the alley behind the hardware store that was envisioned to be parking. that never materialized. So I was thinking maybe we should start to look at parking in the whole downtown area and what we might be able to do to help that along. So Bergson Park and downtown parking, which is always a bone of contention around here.
So you'd like to see that on the agenda to have a discussion about it?
Yes, please.
Okay.
And I do have there was a parking study done, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago. That I'll get a copy and send it out to everybody, just as a starting point.
Okay.
So we
Anybody-
don't need a new consultant for that.
No. I don't. Anybody else have anything? It says city attorney's report, but I don't see.
Well, only if there's anything for
Yeah.
him for us.
Nobody has any other questions? I'd say we adjourn this meeting.
Move to adjourn.
All right. Thank you. 1 minute.
That was short. One-on-one on that.
Good.
thing.